Hello guys, and welcome to a new video today by me, Vulcan, on Wargame European Escalation. We are playing on Stormeye, and today I'm playing with Boogie3, who recently got in touch with me, and well, I've been talking to him for a while, and I decided to play a game with him, and he's actually pretty good. On the enemy team I have Clad, who I've also played against before. He likes to play packs, so I play against him reasonably quite often to be honest. And his teammate kind of let him down in this game, but you'll see where it goes when we get started. So anyway, I'll tell you our strategy. I was going to bring you a better game today, but I forgot to save the replay, which is something that's really annoyed me, because it was like a 27-minute epic game. It was seriously so cool, and it was helped by the fact I have a purely British deck, but I'll go into that in a second. Anyway, our strategy was I would stay at Juliet while pushing all the way up to Gulf and securing the middle island. In the meantime, Boogie would go into India and Foxtrot and secure them with CVs and defend them basically for the game, and then help me push into the middle island should I need help. So I'm going to go through my point of view, and I'm going to talk about what units I'm using. As I said, I've got a full British deck. That means that I've got every single British unit in the game in my deck. Now, most of you may know that there's only about 16 or 17, I think, units of the British Army in this game, so I wouldn't have a full deck, and basically I compensate for that by using French units. And the reason I use French units is because they sort of have everything the British don't in terms of missile AA, and basically just other things like helicopters and stuff like that that I would normally like to use. So I sort of compromised a little bit, but I wanted to keep this as British as possible, and you can see that just by the amount of Saracens I have. Now these 4 Saracens around the base all have LAD blowpipes in them. They are basically weak anti-air infantry, but sort of supported by the FOBs. They can be great base defense. If you want to use them to attack, you normally have to take them in groups of 4 or something, because otherwise they just won't hit anything, as they are so bloody inaccurate. If I would show you, but I have to show you after the game starts. Now obviously I've got a Sultan in between the FOBs. It makes it very hard to spot if you do that. This Lynx AH7 is something that I would not normally take. It has rocket pods on it, which basically are similar to the Mi-8, but they have less ammo, but they are a faster vehicle in general, I believe, and they carry SAS. Now SAS are freaking awesome troops for countering, they're like counter troops, because what they do is they have, like, SAS are really good against infantry, but they have a AA missile instead of an AT missile, and this means that you can send them right up to wherever you want to rush to, and if the enemy does the same with helicopters, you can shoot them down, but they can't shoot you down. So as long as you land first, you should win, in theory. Anyway, here you can see I've got 4 scimitars, which are recon units for the British, with not very fast firing autocannons, but they are decent support troops. They are obviously recon, but I tend to use these vehicles like Marders. You've got 6 or 8 Saracens with, I think I brought in paratroopers, and the Gazelle cannons and the Gazelle AH1, which are normal basically for any game I play. Behind them I have 8 strikers and Marder Roland 2s and 4 Abbott close support artillery guns. Now here you can see what I was talking about with the SAS. I drop them down as quickly as possible as soon as I spot these Mi-8 TVs coming in, and my SAS have already fired a shot off towards this Mi-8 before I even get my cannons in range to help take care of them. And you can see as they crash, they drop out the VPZU, but because they're stunned, easy pickings for the SAS. And I've already won that battle there. Now, with that, Boogie sent up his recon helicopter and spotted a huge rush coming down into Delta. Now, this causes something epic to happen as the Saracens clash with the BTR-70s, and we drop out our troops and just basically have a big clusterfuck battle near the North Bridge. My Gazelle cannons get into range, but unfortunately they have plenty of AA and machine guns to take care of them, and unfortunately they get swiftly taken down as I release my paratroopers from the Saracens and start beating the hell out of their troops. Now, these two over here are basically the distractions, so I can get these Saracens a bit closer, and then I drop the paratroopers out of the Saracens and take the rest out, along with some extra forces up here. My scimitars arrived. Unfortunately, I probably should have used scorpions for this. Scorpions are similar, but they have a cannon on them instead of an autocannon, so they have a proper gun, and they would have been much more effective against the infantry and armoured vehicles that the enemy used. Now over here you can see I'm bringing my strikers up. Now strikers are something I've never used before until about a couple of days ago, and they are basically ATGM vehicles for Britain, which have an accuracy of 4, which is shit, but an AP power of 13, which is insane. And when you have them in groups of 4, because they're so cheap, they always seem to hit stuff. My Abbot is busy firing at this bridge here because he is continuing to rush units over the bridge, and that would basically stun them as they come across and weaken their armour. You can see here that because the strikers are quite small as well, they are hard to hit from enemy vehicles. He's using BMP 685s, which are cavalry prototype tanks, which have an accuracy of 9, and they struggle to hit the strikers. Now the strikers obviously have a massive range advantage at this point, because obviously they are ATGM vehicles. I don't actually have anything else that can take care of all these vehicles at this very moment in time, but you can see how effective these ATGMs are against all these vehicles over here, which basically almost double their worth. Now on the right, like I said, Boogie has brought across a couple of M8 AGS tanks. Cavalry tank prototypes, they're reasonably good. I honestly don't use them myself, purely for the fact that they have weak armour. You've got to keep them on the move. They have incredible stabilizers, I believe. Yep, good stabilizers, and they're good for chasing units off the battlefield. Now here you can see, well, Zhukov surrendered, leaving Clad to fend for himself, but he tried his best throughout this game and continued to play on no matter what, which was awesome of him to do that rather than just leaving as soon as his friend did. And it seemed a bit disappointing because all of the middle forces here were Clad's forces, but it left Clad with the responsibility of all of the other forces on the enemy team. Now, the reason I brought you this game instead of the other game, like I said, I forgot to record, well, I forgot to save the replay, and I thought I did. It maybe just went out of sync when I closed the game and didn't save it, but honestly, I'm very disappointed because basically what happened in that game was we had a huge clash in the middle, similar to this one, but the whole map was like a battlefield the entire time, being attacked from all directions. It was very intense. Now here you can see that these strikers are still getting kills. The good thing about strikers though is as soon as they get one kill, they vet up really, really quickly, and it means that basically these ATGMs snipe like hell, even though they're not even that accurate. Now, I'm not sure how much veterancy affects strikers, but it must be pretty good to make them hit that range shot. Now the M8 AGS tanks take out the Buratino on the left, which I tell Boogie to attack as soon as I see it, while he pushes up his Spartans, which I cover with artillery support from the Abbots. Now you're probably thinking, why have I got these Abbots so far up? Well, the good thing about having artillery so close to the enemy is that the projectile travel time is a lot lower. So as soon as you fire, it's about 3 or 4 seconds until it actually hits the target. And that means that the enemy has not much time to basically dodge the shots. Now, Abbots are very accurate at long range. You can see they only have an accuracy of 4, AP power of 4. So if you get them really close, they can be very effective because they're actually very cheap units. They only cost 50 each, but they definitely make up for themselves or they make up for their cost if you use them properly. Now over here you can see that basically Clad throws in all of the other guys' troops for a big push on the right side. But unfortunately, that is pretty much the game as Clad surrenders and decides that it's probably just better off if we play another one. And that was probably one of the quickest games I have ever commentated. I'm very sorry that it had to be this short. There were more epic games that I could have shown you, but this one sort of taught the most, I think. Using SAS to counter enemy aircraft rushing, that is a good thing to do. Using Abbots or close support artillery to get very fast projectiles onto the enemy, which are 100 times more accurate than if you had them at base. It basically means that if you got hit by artillery, you would know to move. But if the artillery that's firing at you is at base, you're going to have plenty of time to get out of there. Whereas if it's only maybe half a mile away, you're going to get absolutely owned before you can even move your troops away, which is basically what helped me win so much on that bridge. I just targeted the bridge with the Abbots and they become so concentrated so quickly, basically there's nothing they can do about it. Anyway guys, I hope you've enjoyed this one. I know it's short and I'm sorry for that. I've been experimenting with different units at the moment, which is why you saw strikers in this game. Give them a go if you haven't already. They are pretty cool troops. But yeah, thanks for watching guys. Hope you've enjoyed it. Hope you learned something. And I'll see you in the next video guys. Goodbye.